All right, hello everyone, and welcome to once again a Tuesday evening B'nai Baruch Kabbalah session here on our YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over the excerpts regarding the Creator will finish for me. So these are selected excerpts regarding the topic that the Creator will finish man's work. Now, before we start, though, I just want to remind everyone that if you're new to the channel, it's best if you first go over the first, second, third semesters that we did here. Better still, if you want to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and you can join our KABU Academy there, where you can take a Kabbalah course with like-minded people from all around the world, actually. So it's a bit of a boring job if you're studying on your own. If you like to be on your own, no problem at all. But if you like to study with other people, that's always a great option. So these lessons are for like people who've already gone through the first, second, and third semesters and are generally studying with us. And so while we're studying together, we're just doing a Tuesday session. All right. So let's carry on and get smashing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer them. Okay. The Lord will finish for me. So these are selected excerpts from the sources. Let's read and let's see what the Kabbalists are talking about. What does it mean that by the unification of the Creator and sanctity, all iniquities are atoned? So this is a Rabash article. I am the first and I'm the last. That is, I began the contact with you, and the person should wake up from this. However, a person does not complete the work. Rather, it is, as it is written, the Lord will finish for me. So what we have to do is here, we have to understand that when a person is awakened with this dot in the heart, this awakening comes from the Creator. So that's like a call to a person saying, come on, come close to me. Let's have some kind of a connection together. And as soon as a person begins to study, he or she begins to advance. But we need to understand that in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're dealing with changing our nature. And because we didn't create ourselves, it is actually impossible for us to change our human nature. But the Creator, because he created us, can do so. So he is going to finish the job. So what's our job? Well, our job is to want for him to finish it off. Okay. So he starts the connection with us and he will finish it off. And we are seemingly in the middle, trying to get things done so that we can actually persuade the Creator to do it. So let's carry on reading. This is another article from Rabash. Our sages said about this, he would say, it is not for you to finish the work. Therefore, it can be said, why do I need to work? If I cannot finish it, what good is my work? This is why the tractate continues, nor are you free to idle from it. Thus, we see two things here that seem to contradict one another. On the one hand, a person is told to work as an ox to the burden and as a donkey to the load. This implies that the holy work depends on man, meaning that he can finish it. On the other hand, we say, as it is written, the Lord will finish for me. The thing is that both are needed. On the one hand, a person must make a choice, meaning to have a desire to work for the Creator. If he could finish his work, he would remain in his current state because he would feel that he is complete, because he would see that all his actions are for the Creator. So what else is missing? Therefore, there is no longer any need to draw the light of the Torah. For this reason, when one begins to work and see that he cannot finish the work, he acquires a need and deficiency for the light of the Torah. So here are a few important things that we need to think about when we're studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, right? So the wisdom of Kabbalah, the reason we're studying the wisdom of Kabbalah is to exist in a higher level of reality, right? In a higher level of perception called adhesion with the Creator. So we want to actually make a life for ourselves in the realm of the Creator, just like we do, we make ourselves a life here, right, on the planet Earth. So we want to actually exist in the perception of reality where we can actually be like the Creator. And that's the whole purpose of creation, actually. The purpose of creation is for us to be like the Creator. And in order to be like the Creator, we have to start working, like I said a minute ago, with the dot in the heart. It starts to awaken in the person, and the person's wondering, what's the meaning of life? And so one is working. So we also need to understand the reason why we can't finish the work, because if we could do it by ourselves, we'd never have any connection with the Creator. Imagine us giving birth to children, and from the moment they're born, they could do everything. You know, they could look after themselves, they can go around doing their own thing. They'd never have a connection with us. You know, they'd just say, okay, thank you, I'm born, now I can go and take care of myself. All right, have a good one. So the reason they're going through this development and you know, years of having to be taken care of by their parents is because through that, they actually grow up to be like their parents, and they develop this connection with their parents. So here we're actually talking about the same kind of phenomena. As a person is developing in the spiritual world, he or she obviously wants to connect with the Creator, wants to make this connection, wants to bond, wants to utilize this connection in order to grow, in order to understand and feel what it's like to live and exist like the Creator, to bestow and to attain the attributes of the Creator, which is love and bestowal, and to live in that perception, in that attribute. Okay? So if we could do everything by ourselves, we'd never have any connection with the Creator, and we wouldn't actually attain anything higher than the current state that we're in. Okay? Because what parents do for us is they add a lot of their experience to us, don't they? So we learn a lot from them. By doing so, we actually, you know, go beyond our limits. That's how we grow up. So the same kind of mentality and principles, the law of nature actually exists when we're working spiritually to raise ourselves as well. So in order for me to raise myself to a higher level, then I have to obviously get some help from that higher level, just like children get help from the higher level, which are their parents. And therefore, in this case, for us, it's very important that we do the work. And when we get stuck, we turn to the Creator, ask for His help. That means we want to get help from the Creator. We want Him to actually hold us by the hand. We want Him to teach us how to walk in spirituality, how to do things correctly in spirituality. And we actually want to learn from the Creator. And the only way that can possibly happen is if I find myself in a state where I can't do anything to really change my situation. And in order for me to come to that state, I have to do a lot of work, which is why it's saying you shouldn't idle from the work. And this actually shows me what my capacity is. So we start with the dot in the heart. We do a lot of work. We put a lot of effort into our spiritual development. This shows us our boundaries. This shows us what we're made of, what we're cut out to do, what we're not cut out to do, what we can, what we can't, all these things. And it also allows us to give us a lot of impressions about what our real nature is, what our egoism is like, what our desire to receive is like. So all these kind of, all these attributes of what we're born with, everything starts to kind of get revealed when we're studying the wisdom of Kabbalah. And once that starts to get revealed, what happens is then I can say to myself, oh, I need to change these things. Okay. So then I look at myself and say, wait a minute, I can't change these things. I didn't make them in the first place. So what a person begins to see and understand is the ego is ruling over the person, and the person doesn't really have any control over it. But the Creator does. So we can turn to the Creator and say, hey, give us a hand, will you? Let's change this and make it right. And that is why the Creator finishes the job. And if that was not the case, we'd never, ever have any need for the Creator. We'd never have a connection with the Creator. We'd never even need the Creator. What do we need the Creator for? Okay. So this is very important. And this is why He needs to finish off the job. Okay. Let's do that. Okie dokie. Right. P. Green's asking, does the Creator correct the last 7 mitzvot, the 614 to 620, for us at Gimatic? And that's right. He actually corrects all of them, but the last 7, he's going to do it himself, because those are like really, really egoistic desires that are like beyond us, like really bad stuff. However, though, that's the whole idea. But not just those 7 as well. Actually, those 7 they say are corrected, because I'm not there. All right, so I'm not gonna make anything up. In the wisdom of Kabbalah, we can't say anything about what we haven't revealed. So I'm not there yet. I'm not in my last correction. But what happens is, every time a person does get corrected, at every stage, actually, the person needs the Creator's help. And the 612th one is to love others like yourself. So once you actually do that, you come to the love of the Creator, and then the rest, those 7, then get automatically corrected by the Creator. Okay, that's what they say. So like I said, I'm not there yet. Okay, but that's how the books talk about it. So let's move forward to number 3. It is not for you to okay, this is from Bala Sun's letter number 27. It is not for you to finish the work, nor are you free to idle away from it. That is, since wholeness is the purpose of the work and its conclusion, there's an open side to the Sitra Ahra, which is the other side, right, the evil side, to come near and make one understand that he is incapable of it, and bring one to despair, since we should know that the end of the work is not at all our work, but the Creator's work. Therefore, how can you know the Creator and gauge if he can, or God forbid, cannot finish his work? This is insolence and heresy. And you're not free to idle away from it. Even in that manner, if the Creator wishes you to work without finishing the work. This is the meaning of what is written. What does the Lord your God ask of you? That is, the creature must know only this: the Creator work and will therefore do his will wholeheartedly, as in open for me one opening of repentance, like the tip of a needle. By this he will be saved from the Sitra Achra ever approaching him. If a person is completed in this, he can be certain that the Creator will finish his work on his end. And I open for you gates through which carts and carriages enter. Okay, so there's an important topic here, an important principle that we need to actually understand. As we study the wisdom of Kabbalah, right, what happens is a person is working, and our business, spiritual work, that is, takes a bit of time, right? So as time goes on, a person's doing all he can or she can, and is putting all their efforts forward and really pushing and pushing and pushing. And there comes a point where they really get despaired because they feel like they're not getting anywhere. And that really does happen. And then a person begins to complain about the work. So, you say to yourself, well, I've been working for ages and ages and ages. And where's the result, right? Where's the result? Because here the person thinks that he's going to do the job, he's going to finish it, and through his efforts, something is going to happen. But that's not the case, which is why Baal-Islam is saying it here. The thing that happens is, after putting a lot of work into it, the person should come to a need for the Creator to help. So our spiritual development and work is not intended to bring a person into despair or to bring the person into failure. That's not the idea of the work at all. The idea of the work is that after he's doing a lot of things to move forward in spirituality, and he feels that he can't do anything to change his nature, he feels the need for the Creator to help him. And that's called a true prayer. So as you can see, sometimes a lot of people, get into this negative mode because they've rightfully so, they've made a lot of effort, right? So through that right effort, through the hard work and everything, they feel like they're not getting any results. It's not because they're not getting any results, because every effort really counts, just like in this world. But we need to understand here that the Creator is going to take care of business, which is actually a good thing, right? I mean, he's going to do the job. So only he can change our character. Only he can change our nature. So here, the important thing we need to understand as students of the wisdom of Kabbalah is that our study should bring us to a desire for the Creator to help us and change us and embed inside of us that attribute of bestowal. Okay, and this is an important topic, I think, because generally a lot of people get into this despair, which is really not necessary in the wisdom of Kabbalah. A person just needs to do the work, and whenever he or she sees that they can't do it, they need to turn to the Creator. And this accumulates. As you turn and constantly demand help, this accumulates, and this accumulation then really opens up the floodgates, and then, wow, the Creator just does his job. All right, so this is something important we need to keep in mind. Let's take a look at article number 4. Wait a second. If there are any questions, no, not at all. Okay. Let's go to number 4. Rabasha, article number 6. One should work because he's guaranteed one should work because he's guaranteed to get what he wants, meaning to be able to work for the sake of the Creator in order to bring contentment to his Maker. On the other hand, he says, it is not for you to finish the work. This implies that it is not within man's hands, but rather, as it is written, the Lord will finish for me. This means that it is not within man's ability to obtain the desire to bestow. However, there are two matters here. One is a person must say, if I'm not for me, who is for me? Hence, he should not be alarmed by the fact that he has not been rewarded with obtaining the desire to bestow, although, in his opinion, he has made great efforts. Nonetheless, one should believe that the Creator waits until he reveals what he must do. And two, afterward the Creator will finish for him, meaning that at that time he will receive what he wants at once. As it is written, the salvation of the Lord is as the blink of an eye. Okay, so on the one hand, right, the Kabbalists say, well, the Creator is going to finish off the job. But on the other hand, I can't really persuade myself to sit and do nothing. I mean, it's like I can't sit and persuade myself to sit at home and not go to work and not do anything. Otherwise, we'll starve to death, won't we? Right, so that's reality. So we have to go out and work. So on the one hand, I have to always say, if I'm not for me, who is for me? Meaning that I have to do, I've got to step on the gas to the end and really give it my best. And once I do that, actually, then I can come to the Creator and say, listen, dude, I've done everything. Really, I've just I've exhausted every avenue. If you're going to do this, now's your time. Okay, so a person needs to get to that kind of, I don't know how to say it, just needs to cook and then comes to that right kind of tenderness to turn to the Creator and say, this is it, I just don't have anything else I can do. Right? And that's called a prayer. So our work actually is to build this thing called a prayer. And this can only happen, not by lip service, obviously, by our work. So he's saying, if I'm not for me, who's for me? I'm constantly in this motion of developing myself spiritually and just pushing and pushing and pushing until I get to that prayer when I really want something to happen. Okay? So this is really important to understand, because you also can't come to a prayer if you don't have any effort. So if I was to say to myself, well, the Creator's going to finish the job anyway, so I might as well just sit and relax, that's not going to happen either. It's not going to work out, because then I don't have anything to turn to the Creator with, right? So this work has to happen so that within me I can say, hey, I need help here. And that's when you get the help. Okay? So that's what it's basically trying to explain to us. Let me just get a drop of water here. Right. Okay, so I got a question from It's Okay. Are we measuring the despair that we feel in the lack of results in our efforts in the 10, or in the fact that we're also perceiving painful situations and hatred in the corporeal world? Well, all our spiritual work is in the 10, right? But when stuff, bad things, or things happen in the corporeal world, we need to really take care of them as best we can according to corporeal necessities, and however you take care of stuff in corporeality. But if you think about it, everything that happens to me in life within the 10 and outside of the 10 is to push me towards spirituality. So the outside world, when we're looking at it and we're thinking we've got problems with the outside world, it's also directing us to the Creator as well. Because at the end of the day, right, my whole life is a process which the Creator is taking me through. So everything that happens to me within the group, with the family, with work, health, everything really happens to me because the Creator is taking me through the process. Now, when you're a beginner, it's hard to connect everything together in order to be directed towards spirituality. But as you guys will move forward and forward, and as a person develops more, actually the pressures that we get from corporeal things really help us a lot. It really does. So sometimes everything can be really honky-dory in the 10, everything could be great, but your corporeal life could be really pressuring you. And that's not a bad thing at all. I find that to be, well, I found that to be, and I still find it to be very useful, because it really pushes you towards the Creator. It just turns you to the Creator. You begin to understand that not in your spirituality, not in your corporeality, not in your nothing, right? In your nothing, you can do nothing. You can do nothing about nothing, in anything. You can't do nothing about anything. That's it. That's all I want to say. And that really brings a person to turn to the Creator. Although we're always looking for spiritual discernments only within the 10, okay, the corporeal world is also a factor for us. P. Green is asking, how do we experience the worlds of Bia? Is it through the still vegetative and animate levels? Well, not of the still vegetative and animate levels of this world, right? Because those we're experiencing already. In spirituality, those levels have a different interpretation. Well, not a different interpretation, but they have a different sensation. The still vegetative and animate in our corporeal world belongs to corporeality, right? However, though, we also have those levels in spirituality, and we need to discover what they are in spirituality. They're also parts of our desire to receive, but we need to understand what they are and how we need to direct them in order to bestow while we're there. Okay, so this world is just a copy from spiritual worlds. So this is why we've got the still vegetative, animate, and human levels in corporeality. And on top of that, though, what we need to do is build the real still vegetative, animate, and human in the spiritual worlds. Okay, but we can't really draw some kind of a comparison from the still level to our spiritual correction in the world of, I don't know, Asya, let's say, okay, because that's also still. First, we have to get there. We have to see what the still level of desires in spirituality really mean, and then, we can work with them afterwards. Okay. So we had 2 questions there. Let's move on to number 6. Again, this is from Rabash, from his article number 245. Unless the Creator helps him, or her, by the way. The article's always like he, right? But you got to understand, if you're a female and if you're watching, then it's also for you, right? Unless the Creator helps him, he will always remain in his lowliness, meaning his egoism, his bad character. And the words, where if not for the Creator's help, he would not overcome it, will not come true in him. As in, the Lord will finish for me. Instead, the whole world will be providing for him, and he will always need people. Conversely, one who walks in the path of the Creator and not in the path of the world is rewarded with being favored by the Creator. This is specifically one who needs the help of the Creator. As it is written, he who comes to purify is aided. The Zohar interprets with what? With a soul, where the Creator gives him a holy soul, and with that force, he can purify himself. Okay, so this is also very important. Okay. What we need to understand here, we just have to understand while we're reading these texts that we have to put our effort into our spiritual development. And we have to understand that this is necessary in order for us to turn to the Creator And by turning to the Creator, we actually begin to build a relationship with the Creator. These steps are very important, and this is why it has to happen this way. So according to our work, we also get rid of the feeling of shame. Okay, so, you know, we feel like we've earned it. Okay, so that sensation is also very important, because the Creator doesn't want us to feel bad, doesn't want us to feel shame. It's like we got ourselves, I don't know, some kind of donation for, you know, like charity or something. And the Creator doesn't want us to feel like we got charity from Him. He wants us to feel like we built it, we've done it ourselves. So this is why the effort is important. Coming to see everything, getting all the impressions while we're working is very important. Going through all these motions are very important for us to understand the situation that we're in, what our nature is like, what is egoism, what are all these things that are in me. It's really important for a person to see and understand all these things. So once a person's in that mode, then obviously we've got something to think about. Okay, and then afterwards we've got something to turn to the Creator with. Okay, let's move forward. Rabash, article number 6. The name for a sense and the sense is Zavaot. During the work, a person should say, if I'm not for me, who is for me? This means, right, if I'm not for me, who is for me? It means that I'm really doing everything I can, not leaving anything to the Creator. At that time in the work, they think that they themselves are doing the ascents and descents, that they are men of war called Tzva, mighty men. Afterwards, when they're redeemed, they attain that the Lord is of hosts, Tzeviot, meaning that the Creator made all the ups and downs they had. In other words, even the descents came from the Creator. A person does not get so many ups and downs for no reason. Rather, the Creator caused all those exits. We can interpret exit as exit from Kedusha, holiness, and Ba comes as kavig to Kedusha. The Creator does everything. Hence, after the redemption, the Creator is called Lord of Hosts. Okay. If you've got no questions, I'm going to go forward. Okay. And move on to number 9. This is from Baal Sam's letter number 57. There's a natural law that there is none so wise as the experienced. And before one tries to actually do all he can do, he's utterly incapable of arriving at true lowliness. To the real extent, as said above. This is why we must toil in holiness and purity, as it is written, whatever you find that your hand can do, do by your strength, that do. And understand that this is for it is true and deep. I reveal this truth to you only so you would not weaken or give up on mercy. Although you do not see anything, for even when the measure of labor is complete, it is the time of prayer. But until then, believe in our sages. I did not labor and found, do not believe. When the measure is full, your prayer will be complete, and the Creator will grant generously, as our sages instructed us. I labored and found, believe. For one is unfit for a prayer prior to this, and the Creator hears a prayer. So once again, this was the whole objective, right? We're doing our best, really giving all we got, pushing ourselves to the limits, you know, like an athlete. For what? To come to a prayer, so that the Creator can finish the job off. Okay, this is why it's really important for the person to consistently work. This consistent working, constant engagement is really, really important in developing the person. towards what's called a prayer. So the Creator doesn't like our lip service. He wants us to actually come to a discernment where we need help, truly need help. We feel like we need help, right? Not with words, but we in us, in our hearts, really feel like we need help. So that's the important thing. And if we can come to that, then we can turn to the Creator with a true plea, an appeal, and then we get an answer. And the important thing, once again, here, as we mentioned before, is not to leave by getting, despaired. So, I sometimes see friends or students, they're saying, listen, we've been doing this for years and nothing's happening. I'm out of here. Okay. So obviously, on the one hand, I can't say anything. But on the other hand, it's because they've missed this point. You don't need to get to despair. Our work should be really with happiness. With happiness. And I do understand that life brings dramas, right? Life brings hardships. And sometimes it's really difficult to overcome these things. Sometimes you feel like you're like squeezed from all angles. You feel like you're in this vice, and from all sides you're being squeezed. Work, family, friends, all this kind. It's just like sometimes the pressure is quite felt. However, though, this is all to build inside of us this cry, this scream, this need for the Creator to help. So all of these things that we go through in life, corporal reality, and in the group as well, they're actually, it's like a cone, right? It's like really squeezing us to the end of the cone, and we're just going to get out from there, just break through. And that's how it needs to be. So no matter how much we work, we shouldn't get to this negative despair. Despair should be something positive, because I should say, listen, I've really done everything. Okay? And from there on, it just becomes, then your spirituality then becomes, it turns into just a prayer. Okay, so once you finalize this process of saying I've done everything, then the work just turns into a prayer. You're still going through the motions, but it's just becoming a prayer, because although you're still doing things like in life, right? You're still living and you're still crunching the numbers, or crunching whatever your work is. You're still working. I'm an accountant, so crunching numbers. I'm in finance, so crunching numbers is our thing. So that's why I said crunching. But you're still working, you're chewing, and you're doing all these things. And as you do all these things, then on top of the emotions, on top of the movements that you're going through, you actually begin to live in this thing called a prayer, where you feel like you need the Creator, otherwise it's not going to work out. Okay? So that's something important to get to. And this is why all the Kabbalists are always saying, listen, do your best, forget the rest, right? So you do your best, you're going through all this stuff, then you go through all these inner discernments by doing your best, and then the work just turns into something else, just takes a different dimension. Okay, from this physical work, all the physical stuff that we're doing, it just becomes something above the physical. So this is why it's very important to understand this process of having, having to feel like you need to do everything in your power, and then it just becomes more clearer and clarified. I don't know how to put it in words. So sorry if I haven't come across quite clearly, but it's not easy to explain either. It really isn't, because these are all emotional things, and conveying emotions is just impossible. But what I just want to reiterate, underline, bold, underline, italic, I just want to say that a person should not feel negative despair. He should actually enjoy the idea that he did everything, and he did everything and nothing worked, because he then, like I said, the work can turn into a prayer, and that's where we need to get to in the work. Okay. All right, so let's do another one. Let's do number 10. Okay. From Rabash. We should interpret the sharp sword placed on his neck to mean that even though one's evil, called self-love, is placed on his neck and wants to separate him from holiness, from the Creator, that is, by showing him that it is impossible to exit this authority, he should say that the picture he sees is the truth. However, he should not deny himself of mercy. For at that time, he must believe that the Creator can give him the mercy, meaning the quality of bestowal, that is by himself. It is true that one cannot exit the authority of self-reception, but from the perspective of the Creator, when the Creator helps him, of course he can bring him out. This is the meaning of what is written, I am the Lord your God, who took you out from the land of Egypt to be your God. All right, so Egypt is our egoism, self-reception, self-love, everything that has to do with our egoism. And the only way to get out of it, which is getting out of Egypt, is if the Creator does a miracle. And that miracle, as you know, is splitting the Red Sea, right? But obviously splitting the Red Sea doesn't mean splitting the Red Sea. Splitting the Red Sea is when the Creator actually takes us out of Egypt. He actually performs this change inside of us where we can actually get out of our egoism to some degree. So that is the miracle that we're talking about here. Okay. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, we've made 9:45. Shall I read another one, or are you guys good to call it a night? Let's read another one. Let me see if there's another question. P. Green's asking, if we experience some type of despair, how do we pray for relief? If we can't pray directly for ourselves, would we pray the issues addressed by the Creator in the 10, or others may have same issue? Well, that's a nice question, but I've got to understand this, right? Whenever I get a problem in life or in the 10, it doesn't matter, any problem, I have to understand that the Creator is telling me one thing. He's saying, listen, you need to connect more. Okay, that's what the Creator is saying. He's actually trying to tell me, listen, you need to increase the importance of spirituality. He's saying you're getting dramas in life because this life is more important for you. Okay, this is why we have problems in life. If this life is important, then we get problems in this life. Okay, does that make sense? So what do I need to do? So I need to pray for connection. Right? Then I need to say to myself, wait a minute. If I'm having problems in corporeality or in spirituality, it doesn't matter. Any problem. It's because I'm not connected enough to the friends. Because if I was connected, I'd actually understand what I was going through and actually know what I would be doing. Right? I would know how to treat the matter. But I don't. We're like kids. So we need to ask for the right thing from the Creator. Just like a kid needs to ask for the right things from their parents, so the parents can give them things that are, good for them. A kid doesn't get everything he or she wants. So here as well, this is a very important principle. If I'm going through dramas in life, I don't need to run away from studying spirituality or studying the wisdom of Kabbalah. What I need to do is, I'm getting problems. It means I need to connect more with the friends. That's the way to do it. And then I start praying for the 10. And that prayer for the 10, that is the important thing. That is what kind of then takes me to the next level. Remember, all our problems are coming from the Creator. And the only reason they're coming to us from the Creator is so that we can make this extra leap, extra effort to get to where we need to get to. He wants us to take an extra step. That's why we get problems. Very important to understand. And a lot of people studying the wisdom of Kabbalah have problems and then they leave. They say, well, I need to solve my worldly problems. Well, who do you think brought you your worldly problems in the first place, mate? Do you know what I mean? So this needs to be very clear. It needs to be understood clearly as well. A person will have problems, and the only reason he's getting them is because he needs to correct his attitude to the world. If you don't understand how you need to do that, then the Kabbalists are saying connect with the friends, because the more you connect with the friends, the more you'll begin to understand where you need to act. So a lot of our problems is this, right? We get a corporeal issue or a drama and we run after it to fix it. Well, you can't fix it like that. You can only fix it if you get more corrected. And more correction means connected to the group. So this obviously doesn't mean you need to let go of your corporeal world. Of course not. We're dealing with corporeality, right? So I work as well. I work like, quite a lot from morning to night as well. So I'm also working up family, kids, work, all kinds of things. So these are all bundled into one. And spirituality on top of that as well. So I've got to kind of take everything together and I've got to juggle it, right? So juggling it is our job. But if you get yourself into this rhythm, then it becomes more smooth. Now, initially in the beginning, as people in their first 5-7 years, as people study more and more, it gets a little stressful. But like I said, you can't really get rid of the stress by running away. You can only get rid of it by understanding what you need to do with what's coming to you or what came to you. Okay, it's a really important principle to understand. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, good on you. So I think we've got no more questions, right? Okay, good. I'm also really glad you guys are having fun in the chat box. Okay, it's really good to see you guys on the chat box as well. I just saw what it looks like in there. That's nice. So I'm going to love you and leave you, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Take care of yourselves. And remember, we've got a Congress 4th to the 6th of June, right? So if you're in your 10s, get ready. Let's make it a great weekend, full of light, full of joy, and give this really nice little push to our spiritual development. Until then, all the best. Take care. Much hugs. See you guys next time.